Ladies and gentlemen, the play's The Thing, with your host, Judy Sleed. Today's special guest, Paul Efron, entrepreneur. Now here's Judy.
Hi, everybody, and Lee, I'll never tire of that introduction. And this is Judy Sleed with The Play's The Thing, and I have a wonderful playmate today, Paul. Hi, Paul. Paul Efron. I've known you for like hundreds of years, and I know nothing about you, so please share.
That's what my wife says also.
Yes,
She's my third wife, so she knows 1/3 of it.
Well, you live here in East Hampton.
I'm in East Hampton and Queens in New York, and in Fort Lauderdale.
Queens
Florida.
and Fort Lauderdale. Oh, what part of Queens?
Forest Hills.
Oh, you know, a lot of times people, when they say they live in New York, it's really on the outskirts.
Right, that's true.
I'm used to that. Sometimes it's really Manhattan, but Forest Hills is still a nice area.
Oh, it's beautiful, and it's only 10 minutes to the city where we are. We're in the city a lot.
And you travel back and forth, so I just caught you at the time when you are in the Hamptons.
Somehow, Judy,
Yes.
with the 2 feet of snow that is just fading away, and the possible storm coming this weekend, somehow you got me as I was coming back from Africa, and I delayed my trip to Fort Lauderdale this year until the 17th of the month. I'm never here this time of year. I'm always south.
That is a surprise, because most people, if they have a place in Florida, they spend it there. I mean, some friends of mine I know, they just left.
I am, for the first time in 30 years, spending New Year's Eve in East Hampton.
Wow.
I've never done that.
So how do you like
It's
the
great.
cold weather?
It's, you know what? It's absolutely invigorating. Many times
is.
I'm in Florida, and you know, Florida is beautiful. You can play golf all year round. But other than that, culturally, or people, or excitement, or just the joie de vivre, like you have the Judy, you don't get too much in Boca Raton or Fort Lauderdale. You know, it's much more laid back there. You know.
Did you ever watch the TV show Monk?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, well, I'm being a monk now. Your collar is standing up.
Oh,
Can you fix that?
Boy.
I just kept looking at it.
Okay, I get it.
No, keep it out. But
Keep it out, but it might be
but
not. I get it. Watch this.
No, it's
oh,
okay.
Boy. You might be my wife might be channeling
No,
through
it's okay.
you. Are we okay now?
Yes,
Thank
because
God.
I was just concentrating.
Oh, you were looking there. Okay, good. Now we're on the same
sorry.
page. The show must go on, Judy. You were doing well.
Everybody's got phobias.
That's true. That is so true. You know, there's so I'm actually really enjoying it here. My wife and I do a lot of things in the city. We go to a lot of shows, and I actually went to this one show. I got to tell you, not really a show. It was in the Waldorf Astoria, in the Waldorf Towers. We just went last week. It's called The Millionaire's Magician. And we read about it online. It's this magician, his name is Steve Cohn, I believe. And he only performs around the world in luxury hotel suites for 50 people at a time.
Really?
From presidents. He's done all, and it was the most amazing 1.5-hour show that either of us have ever seen in a suite at the Waldorf Towers. Magic.
And he was doing magic tricks?
For 1.5, not tricks. It's so amazing. I will tell you, I told him afterwards, I said, I would love to figure out how to be your agent. The problem is, you never can get a ticket there.
Yeah.
My daughter wanted to take her boyfriend. After I told her about it, she called up, and she couldn't take him until another day because they were sold out for so many dates.
It's amazing. I never heard of that.
No one did. I'm telling you, go online.
Yeah.
It's a great, great, great show. So that's what we do.
Did
We
he
have a lot of
steal your
friends out.
wallet?
I'm sorry?
Did he steal your wallet?
No, but he did some things which still have me talking a week later. Amazing.
Really?
That I couldn't even tell you about because I wouldn't do them justice. It was amazing.
It was
really
so amazing.
Truly. Truly amazing. And it's not like you're in a theater in Las Vegas, you know, seeing, what's his name, David Copperfield or any of those major magicians, and you're not watching it on television. There's only 50 people. You're in a suite in the Waldorf Towers, and there's only 3 rows of people, so you're right here. And you're looking, and my wife and I were looking at each other and saying, oh my God. I mean, that's how amazing. Every little thing that he did was that amazing.
So he must have like a press agent, somebody who gets him these
whatever
gigs.
it is, it's word of mouth. That's what he said there. Just look, I've already told 15 of my friends, and then the 15 people that are watching this television show. So now we have 30, and who knows how many are going to go, right?
Yes.
So word of mouth.
That's great. So the card you gave me, it said the Darryl Strawberry Foundation for Autism.
That's correct.
So as I mentioned it before, my son who's in sports, he was wondering what Darryl Strawberry had to do with autism.
That's a great story, and I'll certainly help clarify that. Darryl Strawberry, as your son knows, you may not.
Yeah, but I do. I remember him, a baseball player.
Yeah, one of the greatest baseball players who, like so many, succumbed to the perils of drug addiction and alcoholism and the whole deal.
Yes.
And so he finally cleaned himself up through many, many, many terrible situations. As a matter of fact, he has a book out right now that was number 21 on the Times bestseller list called Straw, My Way Out. And it's a phenomenal book. I recommend it. It's very, very easy reading, and it's great. So Darryl's married now to a friend of mine, Tracy. They met in Florida, and they live in St. Louis, where Tracy's parents are from. And about 5 years ago, they were asked, Darryl was asked, he's asked to do a lot of engagements or speaking engagements, and they asked him to come to an autistic school in St. Louis. And as a favor for whomever, he went to this school. And they left this school, and Darryl tells it now every year at his annual golf tournament, which is at Bethpage. We had our second annual this year in August at Bethpage Golf Course here in New York. And he walked out of that day with the autistic children, and he realized at that moment that the real purpose of the next part of his life was determined, because he and Tracy looked at each other, and between them they have 8 healthy kids. One of his sons plays in the NBA, DJ Strawberry.
Yeah, my son Jeff told me that too.
Exactly. Yeah, he just came back from Italy, and he
Yeah.
played for Phoenix, and now he's going to get signed by another NBA team. But they looked at each other, and Darryl has tears in his eyes every year when he tells this story at the dinner of the golf tournament at Bethpage, and it just tears at your heartstring. And they have a video actually that they show of Darryl with the autistic kids, and he's just so perfect because he's so childlike, yet he's so enormous. He's the same shape he was in when he played ball. He's 6'5" or 6'6", not an ounce of fat on his body, and he's just a beautiful man. And now he's going to spend the next, God willing, 40 years, 50 years of his life helping these autistic kids and many other
Right,
things.
and you're the assistant
Director of his foundation. That's one of the things I do, yeah.
So that's great. Yeah, you do a lot of great things.
I got very lucky, Judy, you know, and as anyone from Bill Gates to, I'm not going to mention Donald Trump because I don't think he's in that category, but from Bill Gates to many other people that have and I'm not in Bill Gates' category, but to anyone who has succeeded in life, they realize the answer is now to give it back. Because that's what I was taught from day one, is we give to get. And the more we give,
The more we get. I believe in that.
That's the way I try to live, and sometimes less successfully. But what I try to keep to myself, I lose, because it's in the giving that it reproduces. And that's with everything. That's with love, that's with money. I just got a call before I was coming here today from Israel that a friend of mine who became enormously successful in Israel is being given an award right now in Tel Aviv from some major foundation. And another person who knows me from out here, an Israeli, called to tell me about this, and he wanted to meet this first person, Guma. So he said, I have your card in my hand. He says, could you send him a text to tell him to at least talk to me? So that was right before I came here. That's what I like to do. I'm a connector.
You know, I like to do that too.
I know you do. I know that. That's how you become Judy, Judy, Judy.
It's funny that I just mailed a birthday card to my friend who's in Israel.
Oh, wow.
And I'm so late lately. I don't know why I'm so late with everything. Her birthday's tomorrow, and I just mailed a card.
Well, that's way ahead of what I would have done. I mean, you consider that late? The postmark beat the birthday. You made it. Come on.
She's been my friend since we were 14 years old.
Oh, my God.
And I was supposed to go with her to Israel, but somehow I derailed, and I came to America.
Oh, wow, really?
So she's there in Netanya. I went to visit her 2 years ago. She sent for me.
So she went to Israel from where? Where were you originally from?
Well, we were en route. Well, we were born in Hungary.
That's
so
what
we
I meant.
were, yes. And then
so you went from Hungary to here, and she went from Hungary to Israel, with some stops in between.
Not that easy.
Right.
I'm just writing a story about that in a play form.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I'm almost done with it.
Beautiful. Good girl.
So anyway, and what do you do? I mean, you're here in the Hamptons, and you're in New York, and then what do you do in Miami? No, in Florida.
Yeah, right by Boca, Fort Lauderdale. It's actually called Coconut Creek is where I live. And I have a beautiful life down there. I have
Is that where you relax, or you do some work too?
I relax everywhere, and I do the same thing everywhere, okay? I jump out of bed every morning.
You do?
At about 6 or 6:30, because I did a survey. 95% of everyone who dies lying down. So,
really?
Ask Lee. So I'm up and out of bed. That's why Lee says
I have to remember that.
That's true. Just jump up. So now you've got it for another day. That's all. And I do that in Florida, and I do it here. And I have my son who's 24, lives in Florida, and we spend some time together. He's a beautiful young man.
How many children do you have?
I have 2 children from 2
different wives.
Women, right?
One son who is 24,
and my daughter who came here last night. We had dinner. Is 35. And she runs American Eagle, the clothing store in the Northeast. That's what she does.
What do you mean she runs?
She's the district of all the stores. And they're a very big company. And of all the stores from Brooklyn to East Hampton. So she was at her store in Bridgehampton.
So
and that's
Paul, where were you born?
I was born in Queens, New York City.
And you went to school there?
I went to school all straight through Queens. I went to my mother was born in Russia, God rest her soul.
Really?
In Kiev, yeah.
And your father?
My father was born in Brooklyn. My mom came here when she was 4. They were all from a small town in Kiev. And actually, we all have a grave plot at Old Montefiore Cemetery, which you don't want to get into right away. But that's where the Rebbe, the old, the famous guy, the Rebbe Schneerson, that's where he is, in the Old Montefiore. So when my wife and I went last week, when you go to visit someone in the cemetery, you visit everyone, because they all bought the plots together. So it's my family, my uncles, my grandmothers, my parents. It's pretty wild.
So your father was born here, and
Yes.
your mother was born in Russia.
Yeah, but she came over when she was 4.
Yeah. So I was born overseas, and I married an American.
Okay.
So then, you know,
Okay.
my children are sort of mixed. But his parents came from Russia.
Right, so did my father's parents. Absolutely, same thing, you know. And, you know, we became a melting pot. That's what really is, you know, now.
So you grew up in Queens, went to school, and then what happened? Where did you go after that?
Well, I had a little diversion, like, how do we say that? I went to see the concert in Shea Stadium that I'm from the 60s, you know, I mean, for the product of the 60s. I'll be 62 in April. And
Really?
yeah. And so
I was born in April.
well, you might be number 4, Judy. Be careful. Judy, Judy, Judy.
Okay.
So a bunch of friends from Whitestone, Queens, where I grew up in Clearview Gardens, beautiful neighborhood. We stormed the field at Shea Stadium when the Beatles came to America in 1965. And we saw the Beatles, and it was amazing. But that was also the time in our country of sex and drugs and rock and roll, okay?
Yes.
And I took that to a little bit of extremes. And so the way I like to say now is that was 1965, and I woke up 15 years later. And I wanted to bring a class action lawsuit against the remaining members of the Beatles because I feel that somebody should pay me something for those 15 years. But I wouldn't want to change a thing. It's just part of the deal, you know. Everybody has their own path. And that's the one thing I'm learning more and more, that, you know, like my way isn't the right way, your way is, we each have our own chosen paths, you know, wherever the choice is made, whatever we do or don't believe in. And so I think it's about enjoying and helping, and that's what my life has become.
Well, at this time, I'm going to let you get away with just that 15 years. I'm not going to prod you, you know, what happened.
Well,
what
one
happened?
day you can prod me, but you're going to need about a 15-hour show.
Yeah.
You're not going to have 30 minutes. Come on.
That's what I mean.
It normally takes me 30 minutes to introduce myself, Judy. Because I love you, I gave you 30 minutes.
Yes.
You know.
So 15 years went by where you can't remember anything. What happened after 15 years?
Oh, that's an exaggeration that I can't remember. But my goal when I was young, and my first job was working on Wall Street when I was 17, and I went to college, Queensborough College, at night. That was my dream. I love the markets, numbers, finances to me.
Really? I'm so dumb about that. I don't know anything about that.
But the point is that, so it just came so naturally to me. So I took the hiatus. Then I ended up down in Florida after my first divorce. And in the early 80s, I got back into the markets. And I became a licensed commodity broker. And then I became a licensed stockbroker. And then I was a senior investment advisor for Oppenheimer and Company, a Maine, New York firm.
Seems like you're very, very smart.
Well,
just by looking at you.
Well,
you would never know.
All you would have to do is spend a few more minutes than the 30 minutes, and that would change. But I've been given gifts, okay, and that's one of them.
Yeah.
And and somehow in 1991, through a series of many coincidences, or I like to call them God incidences.
That's what I like to call them. Okay. It is. I never call them luck.
Right. Absolutely. I just believe it's all divinely orchestrated.
That's
for better or for worse, that's just the way it is. And so I ended up as a partner in a New York Stock Exchange brokerage firm.
How do you like that?
I mean, how's that possible? I don't know. But I
Well,
had 45 retail brokers working for me in Fort Lauderdale, and we cleared our transactions through Bear Stearns. May they rest in peace. And but we went out. We left the industry in the late '90s, and since then I've just been consulting. That's what I do. I consult for different organizations, different people, different foundations, different golf events.
I bet you are very sought after.
I have a certain amount of seeking going on. And I liked it when you said earlier you had a button on your jacket that
Yes.
I couldn't read it when I was in the car. And I said, what does that say? And you say, no autographs, please. Well, we're so much alike because I was at Goldberg's this morning going for my breakfast. And I walked,
that's a nice place.
I go there all the time. That's how you get to look like this. There's a lot of those poppy flagels.
Yeah.
And so I walk in, and there's some friends of mine sitting there, and there are these 3 women sitting at a table in front of my friends. And they look at me, and I say, ladies, no pictures, please. Just please control yourself. And that's what I like to do. I love to play. I mean, we had some great movies. Have you seen any movies out here this week? Lately?
Yes, I did. I saw 2 movies.
Okay.
I saw Avatar
Go ahead.
and Coincidence.
No. Complicated.
Complicated.
Alex movie.
Yes.
Alec Baldwin.
Yes.
All right, we'll start with that one, okay? Now, first of all, did you like Alec's movie?
Well, it was very funny.
Okay.
Very funny.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing you might not know, because Alec's out here also. And in one of the scenes, and It's Complicated,
Yes.
he ran out of bed
Yes.
naked.
Yes.
You remember that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And they showed his rear end. Okay. That wasn't his rear end.
I know.
You know that? Okay.
Yes. Yes.
He had an ass double.
Yes.
So
he
can
did.
you imagine
Yeah.
that there's someone in New York City right now
Yeah.
going around bars in Manhattan and saying, yeah, what do you do? He said, I was Alec Baldwin's ass double, and
Yes.
It's Complicated.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that was one story. What do you think of Avatar?
Avatar, well, I understand it's really a 3D. They didn't show 3D out here.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was fascinating. Fascinating. All those, the way they did the drawing, and it really looked like the actress and an actor. But the story was cute. I mean, but it was fascinating. Beautiful.
I'm going to give you another little bit of information.
Okay.
My wife.
Don't tell me it was you.
No,
in
no,
there.
better than that. I mean, not better, because there's very little better than that, but it's a cute story along those lines.
Yeah.
My wife and I, one other night this week, went to see the other movie that's here, Up in the Air, with George Clooney. And when we got in there were no seats in the theater except the first row, and I didn't want to do that. So we left. And we were walking out, and we were going to just go another time, give the tickets back. And at that exact moment, Avatar was starting. I normally would not go to a movie like Avatar. It's just not something that I would condemn it prior to investigating it, which is what I do a lot. Contempt prior to investigation. But I try not to. So anyway, we saw the movie. I get home that night, and I loved it, by the way. It was amazing as far as, and it wasn't in 3D. I didn't see it in 3D, but I loved it. But here, we get home that night, and I get a lot of emails from all over the world and different organizations. One of the organizations in Israel called Aish.com, I get their email that night that I had just come from the theater, and on the front page of their topic is Avatar and its relation to Judaism.
My gosh.
It's in an entire review that I ended up forwarding to many people about how that movie and people coming after you and getting the planet, and there was so many similarities, and it was on the front page of an Orthodox Jewish website review. So, I mean, it was amazing. I really enjoyed it.
It just had to happen that way.
You bet.
You know, there are no coincidences.
No coinky dinks. No coinky dinks.
No coincidence.
That's
So
true.
what are you planning on doing in the future? Now you said that you're spending these next few weeks
Yeah,
here
till
in the
January
cold, in the
19th.
cold.
It's nice. It's not bad. I'm wearing gloves, and
Yeah.
I'll show you this that I just got from Africa. They gave me this. We went to the Maasai tribe,
Oh, how nice.
and it's a
it's a
lion's
lucky
tooth.
a
And,
lion's
right,
tooth.
and I was
Wow.
doing the dance with the Maasai warriors, and they said, "Oh, you're the great fat white Maasai," and they gave me this lion's tooth. It was quite a trip.
So how come you're not wearing it?
Because I'm not going to wear it. First of all, it's not big enough, but I wear my jewelry. I don't wear it.
What's your microphone?
Oh, I didn't realize that. Oh, I didn't even
Yeah.
see. I don't
Yes.
I don't realize about microphones. I'm probably not even on anymore. But they would hear me through your microphone.
Yeah, probably. You really have a nice, strong voice, which is good because sometimes I have guests. I'm wondering if they hear them
Right.
because they speak so
No,
softly.
you have a beautiful show. I've seen it many times when I'm
Yeah.
out here. Sure.
Well, yeah, I have. Everybody loves to come on my show because they don't realize they are on television. They think they're just sitting in a
Sitting
living
in
room.
exactly in a
and
living room.
schmoozing.
Exactly right. Exactly.
So you're gonna have to come back because there's so many things that
We're
I'd
not
like
out
to
of
know.
town, are we? I'm out of time?
Yeah, we're out of town. Would you believe it?
I don't know. Really?
Yes, it is. It is.
Oh, my God.
So I'm going to say goodbye.
What if I refuse to leave?
Well, we could sit here for hours. I don't know if they have another show coming out.
Okay.
Sometimes
It
they
was
chase me
That was great. We'll do it again.
because most of the time I come late. I don't know what it is with me. I come late and then they have to, by the time they set up, and sometimes I make a mistake. We have to start all over again and then in another show and then they chase me. But I don't see anybody. This has been so delightful and easy.
Love me